Hi everyone, my name is Jade and welcome back to Learn Business with Jade. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I wish I knew before I started my business. I think this is going to be like a little mini series that I may update in about 6 months time as I learn new things, or maybe in a year's time. But for now, after only 8 months in business, here are 5 things I wish I knew before I started Rosanna London. First thing I wish I knew is that research is important, but it's not everything. So I first had the idea for my fashion brand Rosanna London in March 2017 after another birthday where I couldn't find something cute to wear. Just to let you guys know, I'm 6 foot tall, and every single birthday, prom, wedding, I struggle to find something cute to wear just because of my height, and it's so frustrating. So I thought, why not just start a tall fashion brand? And so I spent essentially 2.5 years researching how much it's going to cost me, what things I need to know, because I knew from the beginning that I was going to do a private label brand, i.e. a brand where I designed the pieces but I wasn't going to make them. I knew I wanted high quality pieces, and as much as I can sew, I didn't feel confident that I'd be able to get the quality that I would want as a consumer, and therefore the quality that I'd want my customers to have. So I knew from the beginning I needed to do private label. So I was researching manufacturers, whether to manufacture abroad or in the UK. I'm from London, and generally manufacturing in London but overall in the UK is super expensive. So is that the right decision for me? All these kind of questions. I did so much research over 2.5 years, and I felt ready in November 2019 to launch my brand. Funnily enough, November 2019 was actually 3 or 4 months after I wanted to launch my brand, but I had so many issues. Now, 8 months after launching, and I'm learning new things every single day. I think the key thing with research is you don't know what you don't know. So much as I researched everything I thought I needed to know, there's so many things I didn't even consider. The fact that shipping from the UK to the US, and the majority of my customers are based in the US, is so expensive and so slow with the post office. Whereas in the UK, you ship from the post office next day and it could cost you under £5. So I didn't know that, and this is the thing with business, with entrepreneurship, in any field, any industry, trial and error and learning on the job is inevitable. But I think the main thing with my point being that research isn't everything but is super essential is that I started getting really annoyed with myself that I didn't think to research things like this, when honestly I couldn't have known until I got to that point. So that's the first thing. Research is essential, i.e. customer research, whether the idea even makes sense, research into prices and so on and so forth is so important, but it's also not everything. So when you inevitably, because it's going to happen, get to a hurdle, you have to research on the job and kind of do a quick Google. Don't put yourself down, don't feel bad, it's bound to happen, and that's just business. So the second thing I learned was to trust myself and to trust my instincts, trust your gut, however you want to put it. A major issue I had with my first manufacturer is that I trusted him so much. I literally just gave him my money and said, here are my designs. He did fabric sourcing, he did trimming sourcing. I think the only thing he didn't do was labels. So I did labels and packaging. But I just gave him the money and said, this is the best thing to do. He will know what to do. He's an expert. He's the best person. Even I'd say, oh, I want this like this. He said, actually, no, this makes a bit more sense, blah, blah, blah. So I trusted him 110%. Now, in some cases, this is a really good idea. For example, if he's saying the best fabric, or if an expert is saying the best fabric for the lining would be this, sometimes it's good to listen, but it's also good to do your own research and trust yourself. So if I'm thinking as the expert of your business, because ultimately you're the expert of your business because it's your business, and as much as you have to pull knowledge together from everywhere, you're still the one running the business, and it's kind of your head on the chopping board. So just kind of keep that in mind, to trust yourself and trust your instincts, and don't feel insecure. I'm going to talk about this in another video, but about how business and entrepreneurship exposes all parts of yourself, the good, the bad and the ugly, things that you didn't even think to consider. But that's going to be a whole other video, and kind of what I've learned from business. But a key thing I wish I knew at the beginning was to trust myself and to trust my instincts. and I would have saved myself a lot of money and a lot of stress and a lot of tears. Number 3, I'd say, is to get the basics, get the foundations right. So when you're starting a fashion brand, immediately you think of the final product. You think of everyone wearing your pieces. You think of like really good customer reviews. You think about making a good amount of money, because let's be honest, yes, it's a passion. You're just trying to fix a problem, but ultimately it is a business. But sometimes in looking at the big picture, you forget to look at the tiny details. So for example, something that I forgot I didn't even consider was where to put my stock. When I started my fashion brand, as I said, November 2019, I was actually at uni, and I ended up having all this stock of all these pieces in my uni room, because it never occurred to me that I wouldn't, like, where to put these stuff. And it's such a silly thing now, but it's really important to consider that even things like the little, you know, on dresses they have the hang ties, like where you can hang like a strapless dress on a hanger. I didn't consider I needed ribbon for that. Like, all these small little things you need to consider is really trying to get the foundation, the basics first. A key thing into that I wish I knew was actually to start with 2 or 3 signature products and diversify on that. So I've been reading a book which I am going to review in the next couple of videos, called The Fashion Switch. I'm looking at it now, hence why I had to look away. And she talks about how this one brand had 3 t-shirts, a crew neck, a v-neck, and another neckline, and their thing was just making the best t-shirt. And luckily for me, or what people tell you a lot in business, is to have a niche and solve a problem. I'm specializing in tall women's fashion, so I've really got my niche, but I feel like I wish I had focused on one thing instead of launching 5 different products at the beginning. So I wish I focused on a pair of trousers or a dress or a coat, and then said, what do you guys think of this? Look at the sales, look at the feedback, and then branched off, versus doing a lot instead of focusing slimly on one thing and doing that one thing well. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, ask them down below. The 4th thing I wish I knew was that things will go wrong. Again, relating back to my first point, I thought that doing all this research meant that nothing would go wrong, but things will go wrong. A package might get lost, either your products coming to you or your pieces going to your customer. There will be a delay. There might be COVID, like things are not going to go perfectly right no matter what you do, and just kind of accepting, okay, here's a problem, I need to solve it, instead of getting flustered and worried and getting so stressed that, oh my, this went wrong, blah blah blah, is really, really important. Things will go wrong, but where there are problems, there are solutions, and that's what you have to focus on, is the solutions and the things that you can do to solve these problems, not so much the fact that a problem actually occurred. The 5th thing I wish I knew was how important and essential it is to find your people. I always used to wonder, how do fashion designers know each other? How do models know? Like, how do all the fashion people just know each other? How it's such a small community. Now it's easier than ever because of social media, but essentially things like going to events, meeting people in your niche, just in your niche of fashion, but also in my niche of tall fashion, in my niche of women's fashion, in my niche of British brands, in my niche of Black British brands, in my niche, like all these niches, finding people and meeting people is so essential. Simple things like my new manufacturer I met because it was too far for another fashion designer to travel, because he's based in South London where I'm from and she's from North London, and it's all because I was just quickly tweeting that, oh, I need to find a fashion manufacturer near me in South London, and she DM'd me like, oh my days, I've got one for you, and that's how we connected. Similarly, when you're going through problems, it's really good to have someone that understands. So I could be talking about, oh, blah blah blah, this pattern didn't go well, this grading, so on and so forth, and it's so much easier to just be kind of venting or speaking about your problems to someone that really knows the terminology. And it's so refreshing, especially with smaller brands, to be like, oh, she's struggling too, or oh, this girl's banging her head against her sewing machine, she's so frustrated, or this customer was really difficult, who do I express this to? They'll understand. It is so important to have that support network. And as much as your friends and your family and people like that are really supportive and really essential, having people, it's a bit like having work friends. And I think being an entrepreneur, especially someone like myself who started a business solo, is just me on this team, along with other freelancers and so on and so forth, sometimes it can be so lonely. It's like going to work and you need help from your colleague or the girl that sits next to you, like in your row of desk or in the cubicle next to you. Is that kind of thing you're trying to emulate, but in the entrepreneurship space. And ultimately, I genuinely believe that there's space for everyone. Same way that in your wardrobe, you don't have only one brand, you have so different brands. I genuinely believe that in this fashion space there is space for everyone, and people aren't so much your competitors but as someone that you potentially learn from. So with that in mind, and a lot of the time I feel like people that are negative and bad mind people and things like that get a larger platform, or get more publicity is what I'm trying to say. But the majority of people that I've come across have been really nice, really forthcoming, and actually really helpful. So don't feel nervous or scared to approach people. Feel free to DM me as well. I'm always on Instagram, always happy to help, or even comment down below and we have a conversation going. But it's so important to find your tribe, find your people, and find your support network in the entrepreneurship space. But yeah, those are 5 things I wish I knew. Hopefully that was super helpful for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with people that you think will find this video useful. And I will see you next time. Bye.